So you mean to tell me that the Browns are thinking about drafting another quarterback?
That they are, Eric.
News coming out this week that links Ty Simpson along with Malik Willis to the Cleveland Browns. The quarterback saga never ends. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Also, give us a call. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on air 216-260-3433. That's 216-260-3433. Couple news items. We're not done in our search for a quarterback.
Well, I think this is expected. I think they're going to do their due diligence just based off of what we saw on the field. I think there were some flashes, of course, from Shador. You can go watch any of our film breakdowns and see what we feel about Shador, what he needs to work on, what he does well, and whatnot. But yeah, of course, they're going to do their due diligence. Now, do I like the idea of grabbing Ty Simpson high in the draft and wasting high draft capital on it and what's considered an even weaker quarterback class than last year? No, and we could get into that. Do I love spending $40 million on Malik Willis and trying to see if he can actually turn into something? I don't know if I love that either, but we could talk about all of it because Mary Kay Cabot, the beat reporter, the mouthpiece for the Cleveland Browns, has linked both names in an article that she wrote for, of course, Cleveland.com. And honestly, I think it's a little interesting because I didn't know if we would go for some of these bigger names that are out there in terms of acquisition in the quarterback market.
Yeah, well, let's break it down and let's start with one Ty Simpson. Obviously, he's the son of longtime coach Jason Simpson. So this is a kid that kind of grew up dissecting defensive schemes, at the kitchen table as a kid, right?
Yeah.
What is your thought, though? I mean, obviously, he was on the sidelines for years behind Bryce Young and then Jalen Milrow. He didn't do much. He finally got his time at Alabama, and there's some good and there's some bad. What are you seeing out of Ty Simpson, though?
There was a point in time where I was really high on Ty Simpson. There was a point in time where I liked the idea of maybe drafting Ty Simpson, but he has had such an up and down, back and forth career for the Crimson Tide in his 1 year of playing. And I totally get why he declared because he's easily the number two quarterback in this class. It's the highest his stock will be, regardless of whatever happens next year. Next year's class is supposed to be loaded, as we know. I just don't know if he makes sense for us at this point with the capital that we would have to invest in him and with what some of his shortcomings are. What do you think of Ty Simpson?
Well, I think that if we took his first 9 games of the season, I'm all in. I'm bought all the way
Right.
in because he looked like a guy that mastered command and was a quarterback that was executing concepts and making the kind of reads that you want from your franchise quarterbacks, right? He had a 21-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. That's the thing, though. That's not the full picture. Things fell off a little bit. Mind you, he did all that without a run game. Um, so the context I think is important. He's only had 15 career starts though. So you're talking like Mitch Trubisky, Anthony Richardson, that had 30 plus career starts under the belts. Even Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes had way more experience in the physical traits. So, like, he doesn't quite have the experience yet, but he's intriguing as a draft prospect because those first 9 games don't lie. And say what you will, Big Ten versus SEC, he was still playing some elite teams in that span. So, I intrigued? Yes. Am I intrigued enough to give up significant capital? Probably not. It's kind of the tale of 2 seasons for him. But if we could draft him and get that first iteration that we saw out of him, because he does have strengths. He uses motions to understand coverages. Like, he's doing the things that you want. He uses motion to understand coverages and adjust his protection calls. He has post snap eyes that you expect more from a veteran. I mean, these are things that we talk about it with Shador. You can't coach that. You just got to kind of grow into it and learn those things. He already has some of that. He has really good ball placement at times. Like, there are a lot of strengths that I look to. There are some weaknesses. I mean, physicality, it's not gonna like make anybody jump out of their seats excited. He could use some more weight on the frame. His deep ball's a little inconsistent. All in all, though, I don't hate it. The only problem for me is that we really need wide receivers and we really need O line. So I'm just not sure how you slot somebody like Ty Simpson in this particular draft.
Ty Simpson to me is intriguing. Everything that you've had to say about him, I agree with. There's some concern about when he gets pressure, he gets happy feet, he loses mechanics, he needs time to have his mechanics work. He's a smaller frame quarterback. To me, though, the biggest problem is the talent that we need on the offense and the amount of draft capital that we've already put into the quarterback. We've drafted two quarterbacks already. And I'm not saying that I think we should
That's
ride it out. I'm not saying that I think
sunk
we should
cost.
ride it out. I agree. I'm not saying that I think we should ride it out with Dylan Gabriel or Shador Sanders by any means, just based off of what we saw in the body of the work in their rookie year. But to me, with the talent that's in this draft compared to quarterbacks whatsoever, there's guards, there's tackles, there's wide receivers to be had in the first and second round that I still think I'd rather have at this point than scratching another lottery ticket at the quarterback position, especially when you look at the prospects that could be and could end up falling because of how many quarterback prospects there will be in 2027. I say that with a grain of salt because they said that about this year's draft. It's just, is it worth it to go all the way in on a Ty Simpson when there's an opportunity down the road if a Shador doesn't work out or if you bring in a Malik Willis and he doesn't work out, which I know we'll get to him in a second, or an Anthony Richardson who is able to look for a trade as of yesterday's news at the combine. There's a lot of different ways I would dissect this. Now, if he ends up at our second round pick, I don't know. Maybe you take that lottery ticket. He kind of reminds me of how I felt about Jackson Dart. Like, I see the upside 110%. I just don't know if I like him for the Browns. And now, in retrospect, I probably would have taken Jackson Dart with a later pick or traded up into the first round for him, you know?
If we're talking second round, sure. I guess I'm in on that. I think Malik Willis is more intriguing though, even though the financial side is a little heftier. So let's move on and talk about that. Malik Willis is a guy that has not had many career starts, but he's taken advantage of the ones that he has had. He's a guy that is a dual threat. And honestly, in Todd Monken's offense, coming from coaching Lamar Jackson, could be an exciting prospect to see in that offense. Like I feel better about a guy like him than I do Ty Simpson. That said, I feel like the price tag is just so high when we're talking about a guy that hasn't proven himself. Yes, he looked good subbing in for the injury there at the end of the year, but it's just such a small sample size. Can we really rely on that?
Well, yeah, and it's a one-man quarterback class when it comes to free agency because Daniel Jones is all but going back to Indiana. So that's all that's really there is Malik Willis and betting on the upside. He's almost like taking another draft pick because you're betting on upside. He's still young. He's only like a year or two older than most of the quarterbacks in this class when you're thinking about all these older gunslingers that are coming out of college. And the money is a big concern. Spotrac has him valued at a 2-year, $71 million deal. That's $35 million, $35.5 million a year for a lottery ticket. That's a lot of money. But, and there's a big but here. Jimmy Haslam does not care about spending money and kicking the can down the road and continuously restructuring contracts. So if cap concern is your concern, I don't really care because we still have Deshaun Watson's dead money going on. We have David Njoku's, a bunch of this offensive line, and we're still projected to have $70 million in cap with restructures and whatnot. So if they want to spend the money, if they want to use him as their lottery ticket this year, I don't mind it. The only thing that gives me pause, real quick, and then we could debate it. The only thing that gives me pause is if you pay him this $35 million, he is your starting quarterback week one. There is no competition with Deshaun Watson with Shador Sanders. And I think that's not doing complete justice to at least Shador Sanders.
There should be some competition because need I remind you that one of those quarterbacks you just named gets paid a hell of a lot more than that. Listen, here's my problem with Malik Willis. I think he could probably be a good starter in the NFL. But if you look at his track record, what he did at Tennessee tells the tale of the tape a little more for me. And what I mean by that is I don't know that the Browns are ready for that piece. Like he can be a good quarterback, and we saw that in a good system at Green Bay. There's no denying that. We do not currently have a good system at the Cleveland Browns. We don't have an O line. We don't have receivers to throw to. So, how is he going to adjust to lack of resources? And to Andrew Berry's credit and the team's credit, obviously they're trying to fill those gaps and fill those holes. But as it stands right now, I feel like we'd get Tennessee Willis and not Green Bay Willis because we don't have the same system in place right now.
So I take this two ways, right? First of all, I'm assuming that they're going to add ample talent to the offense because Andrew Berry has said that in the media, right? And number two, you're looking at a young kid coming from Liberty, which is a small school, playing for Tennessee, which is a bad organization. He then goes on and learns in a good system in Green Bay and can now be a franchise guy in the NFL. That's the thought process. That's the lottery ticket you're buying. So it to me, it's two different players almost. It's young Malik Willis and it's Malik Willis now that he has learned, understood, and adapted his game to the NFL game. Meaning the fact that he has so much experience now, he can overcome those shortcomings that he couldn't when he was 21, 22 out of Liberty in Tennessee. So that's what you're betting on there. But the concern is still the concern. He's only played what, 6 games or whatever. He looked really good in Green Bay, but yes, there's weapons there. What is he going to look like as a full body of work? Uh, it's a lottery ticket. It's almost like taking a first round pick and spending it on quarterback just instead of paying him 10, 12, whatever it is for a first rounder now. It's 35 million for 2 years and you're hoping it works out.
I get what you're saying, but he just gives, and pardon if this reference is too old for you, but he's given me Matt Castle vibes. Like Matt Castle looked great when he came in for an injured Tom Brady. That Patriots team was, I believe, an 11-win team, but still missed the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. And yet we see what happens when he then goes signs a contract. It
True.
doesn't born itself out because he's not in that system anymore. That's my fear. I'm not saying that's the case. That's my fear. And we've seen it before. So overpaying for a guy that, as you said, has like 6 starts in the NFL, I don't know. That worries me when you have a Shador, when you have options. And if Shador doesn't work out, if, dare I say, Deshaun Watson continues not to work out, next year's draft is pretty stacked. So it seems like a lot of money to pay for what I see is still relatively unknown.
Hence why I'm comparing it to using a draft pick on a quarterback still because of his age, because it's still being an unknown. You're betting on upside, just like you're betting on any other prospect. You just don't have the pick or the resources aside from the money to go bet on a prospect like, say, the Raiders do with Fernando Mendoza, or I guess we do with Ty Simpson, the guy we were talking about earlier. But I'm
But
not
we
taking
wouldn't
him with
pay
pick.
Ty Simpson $35 million a year.
I
That's
don't
the
care about
difference.
the I don't care about the money. I'm not pocket watching a billionaire. They can kick
I don't
that
care
can
about the
down.
billionaire part. I care about us signing talent. I would rather go sign a guy on the O line and use some of that cap space because it's not unlimited
But you can
on somebody
have
like that.
both. It's not mutually exclude. Like you can have both. You
I
can
know that,
sign
but
him.
you could also have 2 O-line. You could have a receipt. Like, I feel like there's just
You
more
can still
pressing
have all
need.
of that too. We're talking $70 million in cap right now. Listen, before I continue to
And
argue up a wall, I am
35 is
not
half of that.
okay. And you still pay 20 to a lineman, you pay 10 to a
Half
wide
on a
receiver.
maybe.
Okay, listen, it's not a maybe. That's what they're going to have is like $70 million in
No,
cap.
no. 35 million, half of it on a maybe if you sign Willis. That's what I'm saying.
It's
Like,
the
we don't
same thing
know
if you
how
go
that's gonna work
after
out.
it's the same thing if you go after a lot of these younger names that are in free agency, though. It's the same thing as drafting a guy, and that money still counts when you draft a guy on the cap. Listen, I am not advocating for us to go out there and sign Malik Willis for sure. I do understand the thought process and the want to go out there and the want to not care about the dollars. I
Okay, tell
understand
me
that.
this then.
Okay.
You have a choice to make. I'm gonna present it to you. You can have Ty Simpson with a second round pick, or we go get Malik Willis and pay him 35 million a year. Which one are you taking?
And I'm not trying to just have dead air. I am thinking for a second because that that
I'll
that
tell you
is
what
a
I'm taking.
I probably would lean Ty Simpson at that point just because it's in the
I'm
second
taking
round.
Malik Willis. And I
Are you
know everything I just said. I know,
What do
but I
you
feel
mean?
like there's more upside there.
Do you really feel that way? After
Yeah.
that whole debacle, you're on the Malik Willis train.
I'm telling you the negatives. I'm being real with you. I'm
Yeah.
telling you the hazards of signing Malik Willis. I see more upside in Malik Willis, especially in a Todd Monken offense, than I do in Ty Simpson.
That's fair. Ty Simpson's ability to be like a dual threat, not like a tried and true running the option or running QB draw or something like that, but the ability to scramble and stuff is underrated in my opinion. But Malik Willis, yes, 100%. When you're thinking about a guy who worked really well with Lamar and he likes an improviser and whatnot, Malik Willis does fit that just to a T compared to what Ty Simpson does. But at the same time, Todd Monken can gel his offense to his players' talent. So maybe we don't spend the money. If he falls to the second round, then you go get two good players, say a Jordan Tyson, and then you grab one of the tackles at the end, whether it be Proctor or Jennings or whatever, whoever you like. I know I just said Proctor, and the comments are probably
Makai
mad right now.
Lemon.
Makai Lemon, yeah, exactly. There's
Yeah.
so many different ways you could go in the first round, and then you end up with a cheaper contract second round quarterback. But at the same time, then I think of the Browns' history of taking guys in the second round or taking guys at the end of the first round and how poor that has gone. Brandon Whedon, anybody? Deshaun Kaiser, anybody? Colt McCoy, anybody? And then I get sticker shock on that end too. So maybe we just
Well,
pay Malik Willis and we keep kicking the can down the road and using it as a way to get a quarterback without getting a quarterback in the draft.
you can go through first round picks and do the same thing for us for the most part. Noah, we had a fan leave us a voicemail. Why don't you play that?
Yeah, let me run that real quick and feel free always leave us a voicemail. Our phone number is 216-260-3433. Whether we know you, if we don't know you, we will probably play it as long as it is relevant content for us to talk to. Let me play that voicemail.
Hey, this is Jeff Harris. Just wanted to say I love your guys' show. First and foremost, I want to see Shador start. It would be in our best interest to give him the reps and the experience. But unfortunately, as I've commented on your videos a while back, I do think Watson plays this year. If he looks like he did prior to injury, he plays better than Shador. And I don't think anybody has a question about that or there's no argument there. So if he does play like he did before injury, how do they not start him if that's the case? Watson has something to play for this year as well. He will want to show that he still has something left. So the team will play him or to pay him after this year. If he shows he still has it, he gives us the best chance to win now, not in a few years like Sanders. So that's one of the reasons why I think Watson plays this year. I mean, if he still has it, how can they not play him?
Appreciate the love, Jeff. This is what I've been saying all along. First of all, I don't think he'll be returning to that pre-injury form talent, which is what we're really looking for when he was in Houston. But if he shows flashes of that, it's the possibility. And I do think that Jeff's right. He has everything to play for this year, wanting another contract, knowing that in order to get that, he would have to play lights out because of the baggage there. I think we see him, but you're still on the fence. And with these new wrinkles, Noah, adding more quarterbacks, it doesn't bode well if that's the case. Although Dylan Gabriel's the one definitely cut.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if they'll cut him. I think they'll just get a conditional like seventh out of Dylan Gabriel. Listen, I still don't think the argument. I understand the argument because of the money, because he's still here, because he has the past. The thing that doesn't get hit on enough when this argument gets brought up, whether it be Jeff, whether it be you, whether it be my mom agreeing with you in my texts
Everybody.
after the show, um, regardless,
Thanks, Carrie.
the thing that I think gets overlooked here is the fact that you're betting on Deshaun Watson to be able to still be Deshaun Watson. And
No, I'm
there are
not.
so many. He
That's
is
where you're
not a
wrong.
good.
I'm
He
betting on
is.
him showing flashes. That's
I'm
all it
not.
takes.
And that's what I am. I'm betting on the fact that two Achilles tears and a throwing shoulder injury is not going to bode well for him to even be able to compete. Whether if he needs to compete or it means a lot for him to go out there to maybe get another contract and be a backup or a spot starter for another. That's all fine and dandy. When your body doesn't have it, your body doesn't have it. That's plain and simple. Think about Vince Carter. He was what 42 still playing in the NBA, and he only went in garbage time. Like, of course he still wants to play. I bet you he wishes he could still be in the dunk competition. But when your body's done, your body's done. And
Vince
Deshaun
Carter
Watson's
was
body's done.
Vince Carter was insane, by the way. Jeff left us that voicemail. Make sure you call and leave us a voicemail too, especially if you agree with me. Leave us a voicemail 216-260-3433. Noah, That's going to wrap us up for this week, but you never did answer the question. Pick
Yeah.
one, Malik Willis or Ty Simpson.
Ty Simpson, second round, you said?
Mm-hmm.
I would lean Ty Simpson just to not have to spend the money and have more dead cap and more monetary problems on the back end. Not that I think it matters, but I think I would go Ty Simpson. Where are you at?
I already told you I'm Malik
Malik?
Willis, but I still love my CU aunties out there, so don't come for me because I'm not saying that we should be benching Shador either.
No, neither am I as well. I do want to say though too, Malik Willis, man, he entices me. I'm not gonna lie, he entices me. When we start hearing these rumors, you have Zach Jackson of the Athletic talking about how he thinks we're gonna be all in on trying to land him. It makes me a little excited as a Browns fan that we're gonna go try to get a young, talented guy that I watched on primetime football light
Yeah.
it up. It would be interesting. It would be interesting, and I would be excited for that camp with Deshaun Watson, Shador Sanders, Malik Willis, Ty Simpson. Maybe they'll keep them all. Dylan Gabriel will come in too. They'll sign Baker Mayfield for some reason. They'll bring them all in. Let's do it.
I mean, the only thing we haven't tried at this point is letting a different quarterback take every snap. On that note, the debate never ends, but the show does for now. We'll see you next time.